too long tonight. But as promised, here I am. I'm going to try and talk about grief. And because survivors, we have a lot of grief that we have to end up dealing with. It's difficult because they are blasting the absolute shit out of me tonight. It's hurting my eyes. It's just burning the shit out of my eyes. And so it's been bad. And it's like one big meth head commune next to me. They just. It's interesting because here we are talking about grief. Welcome. We're all talking about grief. And the group that I deal with that was behind Isaac Cappy, that's torturing me with their little devices, they find power in making people grieve. They find their power in hurting people. And so as survivors dealing with this group, it's interesting because you go from grief to anger, back to grief, back to anger. And so I'm cool. I'm glad you guys got the notifications. I got my lawn mowed. It only takes me about 20 minutes to do my lawn. It's not like I have a super, super big lawn. I don't have a big house, but I did get the lawn mowed. It's difficult to think tonight because they are blasting the crap out of me. I love the smell of fresh grass too. Cut grass, there's just nothing like it. It just smells like summer, you know. Of course, if they put in a cologne, I don't think I'd wear it. Cut grass cologne, but it's been so grief is a really difficult subject, and I don't know if I'm the best person to I can tell you the stuff that I've gone through, the stuff that I've learned how to do in therapy, but really the only thing that I can tell you about grief is that you just have to work your way through it. Roast beef cologne, yeah, but you could work at Long John Silver's and smell like that all the time. I mean, gross. um, I don't like the smell of Long John Silver's, even though I like their fish. Weird as that is. Of course, their fish tastes like their chicken. They all fry everything, I think, in the same grease. But having to deal with grief, like the stuff that I'm gonna go through, like I'm going through right now with Owen. Grief is like a roller coaster ride, and as survivors, we have a hard time because it's hard to look back and realize that we had no childhood. The all it was them. Because anyone who goes through what I went through, and there's a lot of us who did, I just, it's difficult to deal with. And me, I'm just, I'm so sick and tired of being tortured with their toys. I'm just really, I can't begin to tell you. And they go out of their way to cause harm, and they go out of their way to just cause people pain. Not just with their weapons, but just heartache. They just, it makes them feel powerful. And I've never found any power or anything worthwhile. I don't get anything out of hurting people. But I guess that's just, my nature. The people that are dealing with me. I was mowing today. There's some dude from Texas. I don't know why he felt the need to stare me down. And I was mowing the lawn. He was burning his eyes into my head and wanted me to look at it. You know, just a young punk ass dude in his 20s. You know, and it's just I don't know what makes them tick. You know. Oh yeah. See, but that's just if you ignore their nonsense, it's almost impossible to ignore their weapons. It's almost impossible to ignore this directed energy crap. It's all their other stuff is you can do it, but they are they no longer need concentration camps. They can cook you alive in your own house. They can torture you in your own house. And it's almost impossible to ignore it. Their other stuff, yeah, you know, the dude that wanted to stare me down. And the reason why he wanted to stare me down is because now they have, said in my last one, there was a Reddit van thing that they put in one of the garages. Never seen it before. It's not a garage that gets used. So what was in that van that they don't want anyone to see? Obviously, there's something in there. And it's just, and then they go out of their way so that I know that they're involved. You know, like coming home at night and having the idiots stand at their window and then turn on their lights so I can see them at the window staring at me as I'm, you know, walking into my house. It's just bizarre. You know, they think they're all that, and I think they're mental. But, oh yeah, it's not easy to ignore their stuff either. I do it, but the directed energy weapon stuff is just off the charts. Off the charts. And the fact that they go out of their way to murder people in your lives, you know, is a yes, this is exactly how they got Tory Smith. Tory Smith was talking about these weapons really before anyone really knew about him. That's why they didn't listen to him, is because he was talking. But now, that's what causes the Havana syndrome. You hear about the Havana syndrome, that's this bullshit. And so, thank you. I try to be in the moment, and I do my best to try and focus. It was difficult, let me tell you. Had I not promised to come back on here tonight, I would have gone to bed because they're, it's giving me a headache. God only knows if I'm going to even make it through the night. Sometimes I think that I'm not going to make it, but I don't say it anymore because God seems to keep me around. And I think heaven keeps me here because heaven knows I'm going to just continue fighting. And now the fight is not to focus on them and all of their dark ass stuff. Now it's more to try and give people hope. But as I was mowing today and then as I was cooking dinner, I thought, you know, I bet that they're going to use these live videos. Since I've dealt with these idiots for so long, um, I kind of know how they think. And, oh, I'm so not handsome. I, it's okay, you know. I always tell people I was born bright, not pretty. And, um, and the dumbass is here. It's not a Muslim hat, dude. It's just a hat. I was out mowing. I didn't want to get all dressed up. I'm not taking it, and I'm not Muslim, so I'm just so tired of your group focusing on my clothes and what I wear. It's just so, you know. But I don't think that they like these live, especially like when everyone gets along and we're all exchanging ideas and all of that. Um, I yeah, it's just a hat. It's just to keep my hair in line because I just didn't want to. I was tired of having it up. You know, I have it up because I have a big monk spot on the back of my head, a big bald spot, and especially when I'm out and about. I don't have long hair because I'm a hippie. I have long hair because it's kind of like a reverse comb over. I pull it up so it covers the bald spot on the back of my head, and my head doesn't get sunburned because it sucks to have a sunburned head, you know? Yeah. They were, the attacks were, they want me to know what they're doing. That dumbass from Texas. And they're all together and they strut around because they know that the sheriff protects them. You know, Neil Gross protects them, always has. And I suggest everybody um, go look at Torrey Smith. Someone said today that his stuff is still up. And so it is really, I think that a lot of people didn't listen to him because they didn't really understand the whole directed energy weapon stuff. And he had a lot to say about Mike Pence. And it's almost as if people believe that our government officials and all of them, they, I guess they live on Mount Olympus or something. They're not, you know, they don't get involved with the common man, and nothing could be further from the truth. And I looked him up. That was cool, you know. Yeah, that's just it. There's so many of you that are intelligent on here that have so many good things to say, and they're used to going on to their 6 and 7 hour extravaganzas and talking shit about people, and then everybody in the thing, they just breed negativity, you know. I don't know if there are tunnels under DC. You always hear about tunnels. I know that there are passageways in the old market in Omaha. I know. But um, everybody seems to think that there's tunnels. The problem is that they don't need tunnels. They just do it out in the open. Because most people don't have a clue what to look for. They, and I can't tell you what to look for because it's different every time, you know? But obviously, there's been stuff, the airport in Denver, you know, you hear all kinds of weird stuff about that. But that's their game. They do all of this weird stuff, and then they spread all of these rumors so that people think more about them. And no, I am so not free. And why you're in Omaha, great. You would geo, you know? So they all know who to look at if something happens to me this weekend. Right. And they're just hidden. But a good conversation about propaganda and how it's used. When I moved to Washington State, I lived there. I think I had lived there for about a year. And um, I had lived for out there about a year. And then finally I started asking people, what is it? I always heard when I lived in Iowa that it rained here all the time and that you guys had the highest suicide rate of anybody, any place in the nation. What is going on? Because in the wintertime in Washington, it never rained. If it rained, it would only rain for a couple hours and then the sun would come out. It was amazing weather. And they finally told me, I finally had someone say that whole it rains all the time and they have the highest suicide rate, that was all propaganda put out by the state of Washington. And the reason why is because Washington was being inundated with a bunch of Californians, and they didn't like people from California. So the Sunshine State, so they started telling everybody, oh, you don't want to come to Washington. It rains here all the time and we have the highest suicide rate and everybody's depressed here. And it did. It slowed the migration from people from California, up to the Pacific Northwest. And so it was not true. None of it was true. It's beautiful weather there. The climate now has changed, so now it can be 90 to 100 degrees in Seattle. It never used to be that way, and now you almost kind of need an air conditioner. I guess you never needed to use the air conditioner, and I'm just it's weird how their propaganda works, and that's the reason why they go out of their way to make themselves out to be bigger than they are. Because I started thinking about it today. After that dude stared me down while I was mowing, and it was weird. I wasn't even paying attention. Obviously, I was not paying attention. I was mowing the lawn. I was kind of preoccupied. The only reason why I noticed it is because I could feel eyes burning in the back of my head. I mean, I don't know. And so I look over, and he's standing right there, blatantly just staring at me, watching me. And that's the kind of shit they do. I've told people in the past, they ask me how I deal with it. And I told them that in therapy, I realized that what I started telling myself is that they were just a paparazzi. And they thought I was famous. And so they're just stalking me, Yeah, it was creepy, It was creepy. And it was just weird. Hope you cut the grass nicely. I did. I make little lines in the grass. I like to make my lawn. It's my dad, part of me. My dad was a freak, but he was still my dad. And there was still stuff that he did that as I get older, my dad was always active. Well, in bad ways too, but I kind of am like that. I don't sit for very long periods of time. My brother Steven used to just lay in bed all day and then watch television all night, and I can't deal with that. And well, dude, if you were the guy staring, what I suggest is you just fucking say hello. Because what kind of punk ass bitch are you that you're gonna stare at me but can't say hello? If you had something to fucking say, you could have just walked right on over and said it, And so I did. I spent the last $10 I had. This wine cost $8. If you're into really good wine, you probably would never want to taste this. But I don't drink good wine, and I only had $10 left to my name, and I didn't care. I did not care. I wanted wine tonight because I'm just, I wanted. Oh my God. See, if this is the way it's going to be, I'm just not going to stay in here because I'm not dealing with these dumbasses. They're so pathetic and they think they're so clever. and they're just gross. Nobody really likes them. That's why they have a chip on their shoulder, because out in public, nobody really likes them. You know, people do not think that they're all that, and they have to know that. And so, like they said, if you can't get good attention, you'll go out and get bad attention, and that's what they do. And I'm just, and of course, I made the mistake of saying that I would be on tonight, because then they just get together as a group to come in, because they just want to fuck everything up for everyone. That's what they do. You know, that's what they do. And so it's just kind of sad. They, how pathetic to live your life like that. I'm not a great one to talk about grief because I've had so much of it, and all you can do is get through it. Every day is a challenge sometimes. And I do not drink very often at all. Um, Even though I will say that I have made a few videos, because 2 glasses of wine makes me buzz. So a bottle of wine, I bought a bottle of wine, but it will last me for a while. And I used to keep them and not drink at all. But if you keep a bottle of wine, especially cheap wine, for too long, it gets this weird sediment on the bottom. So when you pour it in the glass, you don't realize it. So the very last glass in the bottle you drink dirt. I don't know what the hell it is. It's disgusting. And so I am just not much of a drinker. I'm just not much of a drinker. Used to be a big pot smoker, but who can afford it anymore? You know? So I don't do that anymore either. And I'm pretty boring. I'm pretty boring. I do have my addiction. I have coffee. Every morning I have coffee. I love coffee. And sipping on a beer. I thought about getting a beer, but I didn't have the $12 that it took to get Stella's. I mean, that sounds so pathetic, but I do not have. I do not. I had to buy cheap ass wine because I had $10 to my name. This month is going to be so tight. I probably should say, if anybody wants to donate, I fixed my Venmo. I got a hold of them. They helped me fix it, and I had to change everything. And I also, so my Venmo and my PayPal is Shurter. If you want to help, you know, I just hate asking because they've made it so hard on me. I was never, that's why I never asked for stuff for so many years. Never asked. Because I hate to ask. Because it just makes me feel weird. And so, but now I'm to the point where, what am I going to do? You know? And so, a friend of mine was laughing today and said, well, you know, you could go sit out on a street corner with a sign. And I thought, you know, I could do that. But I would want a sign that was funny, like, I need money for hooker and drugs or something like that. You know, just, no one would donate to me. And I'm just not going to sit out there, you know? I just am not going to do it. But grief is just, grief is difficult because this group knows all about grief and they like to cause it as much as possible. When they want to shut you down, they'll go after your friends. They'll go after your friends. They'll go after your family, and they feel powerful about it. Of course, they hide in the fucking shadows. And except if you're dumbass like the Goblin Dowd and Captain Underpants, you let me know and you send me pictures of my town and go out of your way when you're coming here to kill Owen. And then you cry like little bitches when I call you out on it. Because what did you expect me to do? Just take it? I'm not going to do that. And with grief, sometimes all you can do is just sit. You can just sit. There are times in life that things happen and all you can do is sit with it. All you can do is sit with it. After Franklin was probably the worst. After they murdered David Klotz, put my friends in jail, just decimated me. And then, like I said, I came back into town 2 weeks after David Klotz died, and the very person who put the bullet in the gun said he had a present for me from Alan Bear, and then gave me a white towel that had pieces of David's brain and skull fragments in it. That was the gift. And what could you do? What could I do? I knew I was beat, you know? This time is a bit different though, because this time God is gonna nail them. Nail them. They dance around thinking that they just can't be touched because they're ignorant, don't have a damn brain in their head. And they don't have a damn brain in their head. And without their group, they're worthless. The people that are involved with these directed energy weapons been in and out of jail for drugs. So when they're alone, they ain't shit. But with their group, you know, yeah, if you don't want to hear me talk, go away. It's not like my title, the name isn't David Shurter. And I said I'm talking about grief. You know, nobody wants to, you know, I didn't take the towel. I didn't take the towel. I don't have a clue what happened to the towel. You know, I was mortified. I was just, and the fact that everybody knew about it and didn't know what to do or say was just, Franklin decimated so many people, but in Omaha, Nebraska, especially at the time, people were terrified. Terrified. In one summer, 27 gay guys committed suicide. If you believe that in one summer, 27 gay guys committed suicide. In one summer, you know? And so, grief is hard, and especially with this group, because they like to cause grief. They like to cause grief and they like to cause fear. You know, they want you to think about them all the time. I don't. I don't think about them hardly at all. Today I have, but generally I go down and sew, or I'm helping people in town, or cooking for people, and they don't live in my head rent free. I have way other things, so many more things to think about. And even when they break into my house, it pisses me off. But um, well, homosexuals, how's that? Male homosexuals, you know? I just these people all think that they're clever and they do all kinds of nasty shit. They say nasty shit. They think nasty shit. They have a fucking chip on their shoulder. They go out of their way to be unlikable and then are all pissed off that people don't like them. And oh no. Can you tell me about MK Ultra? I'm based in Australia and don't think they have it here. Dude. So wrong. Australia is more open from what I've been able to see with the whole MK Ultra thing than even America is. But it's everywhere. The UK has it, America has it, Australia definitely has it. I did not realize until I watched a 60 Minutes thing, I didn't realize that there was a boys' town in Australia that's connected to the boys' town in Omaha, Nebraska. And the same crap was going on down there. And in the 60 minutes, one of the priests that was involved, because the Catholic Church is heavily involved in all of this, heavily involved. These idiots will um, talk about, dude, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, then go away, because other people do. Obviously, I can read the comments. And Australia is bad. Fiona Barnett was from Australia, but you can't find anything more about her because she took everything down. Because it was horrid for her. But in this 60 Minutes episode, there was a priest, and one of the victims that was there actually, they were filming this dude confronting this priest. And that priest actually looked at him and said that he was suffering from false memories. I'd never actually seen anybody say that to a survivor to their face. And it went about as well as you thought it would be. Had it not been for the camera crew, I think the dude would have killed the priest. And so it just did not go well. Boys Town and Larry King, the only reason why I'm Australian, Fiona Barnett still has a very few interesting vids on her channel. That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm glad she didn't take everything down. I guess someone else from Australia told me that now they've changed the rules. And so you can get in trouble for trying to talk about this stuff in Australia. Australia is like, when Fiona and I were talking all the time, she always wanted me to come to Australia and come visit her. And I told her no, because I'll get off the plane and they'll shoot me dead, or I'll disappear and they'll never see me again. I don't like to really. Sagittarians are supposed to be these wanderers, go out and about and go travel everywhere. So I'm not a real Sagittarius because, I'll never move to Australia. Plus, you guys have all kinds of stuff that eats people. I see videos all the time. You have like spiders the size of dinner plates. And there's no way. I'm just not interested in being. I like being top of the food chain. I don't want to be in the middle and have to worry about getting eaten by stuff. And so I just, Australia is another test zone. It is. Because they can get away with it because it's so open. There's so much open space. It's easy to get lost and be able to do all kinds of weird shit in Australia because it's so vast and so open with so much open space. But that's what it's here, Here it's a little bit harder now, but it's interesting. It did start off as a penal colony. But then so did the New World, kind of, in America, because we were always called the New World. And the people they were shipping over here at the beginning were people they were afraid to kill. My family was first. My family was in charge of one of the 13 colonies. That's how my sister got a scholarship from the Colonial Dames, because Colonial Dames is a subset of a much bigger group called Daughters of the American Revolution. But what makes Colonial Dames is your family has to have been in control, in charge of one of the 13 colonies. And we obviously were, because my sister got a scholarship from Colonial Dames. And they did not want to live under the British rule. They didn't. And some people came here by themselves. Some people came over here by themselves. But you also have to admit that they were sending people over here because way back when they would send people over here thinking they were just going to die. And yeah, I think that they probably did to the Aboriginals in Australia the same thing that they were doing in Alaska because the indigenous kids still disappear, you know, and I don't know what it is about indigenous kids. There is a definite amount of racism in America, obviously, but I think that that is starting. The younger generations, especially, are starting to switch out. Dude, if I'm wrong, then go away. You know? Do you not have a life? Obviously not. You know? Obviously not. And I'm just. They want to be in here and destroy it for everybody. They don't want you guys talking. They definitely don't want me talking. They just think they're dickheads that have miserable lives, and misery loves company, and they love to make people miserable. And it's just really, really, really sad. And um, I'm racist against people who have perfectly good brains but don't use them in the right way. That's not racism, dude. You know, get a dictionary. Racism is based on race. That's why it's called racism, because it's based on race. And there are dumbasses in every race, obviously. And so I'm just. Obviously, the Satanic Temple has sent their bullshit, or all the weird ass people sent their minions in here. Because that's what they do. That's what they do. And like I said, without the group, they don't have shit. They don't have shit. They have no direction in their lives whatsoever. Nothing. And see, I'm not catching because there's so much going on that I'm just catching pieces of some of the conversation. And I just am, I'm exhausted as well. Their shit is beaming right into my head, and it is giving me a headache. My eyes hurt because this microwave crap is just crazy. And I get tired of having to deal with these butt heads. You know, more like butt wipes, to be quite honest. It's between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I will vote for Joe Biden because Donald Trump has already said he wants to become a dictator. I'm not voting for a fascist. If they get someone else, then maybe. But I don't want America to become fascist. I don't. I don't want a dictator. I know my history. I know how it works. And I've had to deal with Nazis all my life. They're entitled dickheads who think that everybody owes them everything they have, and they owe nothing to anybody. And, but we're in America now. It's 2024, and Biden and Trump are the best we can do? Really? You know, that's the best we have. America's gonna fall, and it almost kind of, you know. See, that's just it. Blocking won't work. If blocking won't work, they have so many sock puppet accounts, they'll just come back as someone else. You know, they'll just come back as someone else. And so it's just kind of, you just ignore them. Read the comments that you want to read, answer the comments that you want to read, and don't feed the trolls. They don't really need any feeding. They you know, they eat their own tails. So who cares? You know? Okay, Biden isn't able to tell corporations how much to charge. The president does not have control over companies who want to do price gouging. And the fact that that people have reported that all of these companies are making huge profits like they've never made before. I think that's more of a problem, you know? And the fact that America has the best economy of anywhere in the world, which is really sad. It's really sad, you know? You're giving credit where credit should not be due. It's not, you know, no money is going to the workers. No money is going to the poor. This month, they just took out $700 on people who are on disability out of their checks to pay for Medicaid B payments. You know, people who couldn't afford to live. I can't afford to live. And now I'm having to deal with it, but I'm only one of thousands of people in Iowa. And no, I do not believe that we should be I was so against sending money to Israel. I was so against sending money to Israel. The whole Ukraine thing, the reason why they're fighting with Ukraine, what people don't understand is that Ukraine's nickname in the world is the world's breadbasket. It's where most of the food comes from in the world. Who owns Ukraine, who controls Ukraine, controls the food supply. And so I can understand why they're fighting over that, because food is becoming scarce all over the world. Oh, my nephew is in the Philippines and has been trying to get me back to he wants me to go to the Philippines because he was just like, dude, things are so much cheaper here. And then you watch stuff in TikTok and stuff where people are in different countries that are from America, and things are, you know, no place but America can you go bankrupt going to the doctor, you know? And so it's just the reason why I think people are flocking here is because the CIA has fucked up the entire world, every place. You know, if they thought that they could go in and fuck it up, they have. The CIA is the devil's army. That's what it is. You know, they do covert shit, and all of the people that they have think they're so powerful and all of that. But again, without that group, if they stood alone, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. If they had to stand alone in the light, you know, they're real big about hiding in the fucking shadows and using anonymous names they'll say whatever the fuck they want on social media with an anonymous name. But in real life, in the real world, standing up, just them, you know, it would be interesting, you know? And so, you know, you're not a white knight. You're just some sort of piece of shit that's in here trying to cause problems. You remind me of Dowd. Maybe you should go seek him out. You guys probably would be good friends. You know? He's a piece of shit too. Thinks he's all that. All that. Why would you come in and murder someone and then fucking let everyone know that you... Telling me that you were in my town when you murdered Owen was probably not the wisest thing to do. But brains don't go with criminality, and intelligence usually rarely goes together, you know? And that's all I'm saying. Yeah. The veterans are living on the streets. But you want to know why the veterans are living on the street? Because we have corporations buying up houses left and right. And there's a bunch of empty houses. There's a bunch of places that we could actually put people so they were off the street, but corporations don't want to do that. You know, it's the greed. It's the system that we're fighting. It's the system. You get rid of one of them, and you're just going to have 100 more to take their place. It's the system that we're fighting, and the fact that people are starving, the and veterans, oh, they love you. Oh, they love you when you're in a war. They love you, but you get hurt, or anything happens to you, and you need assistance. Our government is basically like, go fuck yourself. We don't need you anymore. And then they throw you out, and then they wonder why no one is joining the military anymore. You know? Because people aren't stupid. They've seen what happens. Plus, you're guinea pigs. Look at what happened in Vietnam with this Agent Orange. Look at what they did to those people. You know? And it's just, if we had billionaires that actually gave a shit about humanity, all this stuff could be solved in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. That if they would have taken, but they don't want to do that because they want their yachts to have yachts to have yachts, and their planes to have planes. Oh, well, I don't want to take this plane because that plane is for Tuesday, so I'll take this super jet. That's my Friday. You know, that's what they want. They want to go. When's the last time any of you have spent $75,000 to go to a fucking party? I've never done it. Couldn't do it even if I wanted to, which I never would, you know? And so, oh my God. Dude, you should go get some education, Mr. White Knight, because you have a lot of fucking opinions, but you don't have any education whatsoever, huh? You just want to think you're right, and it's interesting. Because it's actually not interesting. It's actually kind of sad. Yeah, my best friend, Richie, he was an older dude. He was Vietnam vet, retired military, got exposed to Agent Orange, and they treat him like garbage. And garbage. And the med. But then you can understand how dumb these people are. Because why would you film yourself when with everything that's going on in the world, especially in America, and have them film you say, let them go eat cake? Why would you quote Marie Antoinette at a time where people want the rich's head? I mean, that's where it's coming from. That's what's coming, you know? Yeah, and Agent Orange, I was with Richie when he went to the doctor. Do you know the Agent Orange? It's great. But if you weren't born before that, you have Agent Orange in you. It goes 7 or 8, it can go up to 9 generations in your blood. And they just thought it was okay to expose these people to it, you know? It's just like these weapons. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They look at mankind. When I was growing up, this group called basically society eaters and breeders. That's how they referred to everybody, is eaters and breeders. Totally worthless. And I don't have parties. I don't do parties. And on the occasions that I have gone to an occasional party, I always end up in the kitchen with the animals. Because the animals are always in the kitchen because that's where the food is. And that's where I usually went, is in the kitchen. So I was around the animals and the food. Because people just kind of, drive me insane. Let me see something here. I'm not going to stay on here because I'm not going to get irritated by these dumbasses. They found out I was going to have a thing today, and they don't want anybody actually relating to me. You know, they they want to do all of their stupid bullshit, and it's just sad. It's just sad. Um, to lead such a life, I would think would be really unfulfilling, you know? And then when they go to bed at night, they bitch because nobody likes them. And no, you can respond. You can respond. You guys can get irritated. It's just who needs it? Who needs it? They offer nothing. They offer absolutely nothing. They are just dickheads and they just revel in being dickheads. They think that that makes them special. And it doesn't make them special. You know, it's so much more fulfilling to actually have people like you and respect you and dialogue with you and feel like they came away empowered or with positive, you know, and oh dude, you have to be connected to Dowd, you know, which is funny that a dude who has a mugshot for molesting kids is out there calling other people fucking child molesters. You know, the thing about it is that your group likes child molesters. That's why everyone knows I'm not, because you guys all like child molesters. They're the ones that you all want to hang out with. If I was a child molester, you guys would want to be my best friend. That's how it works, you know? Because I am not with you or your Geo. Mr. I've been in prison and now I'm shitting my pants because I'm not fucking denying. I have a video I just did called All About Accountability. You guys love fucking child molesters. You know, you'll go on and on and on about Isaac Cappy, but you never once, after Isaac was gone, started dealing with what Isaac was trying to expose. Never once. It all became about dead Isaac Cappy, not about what he was doing in life. And you think nobody can see that, and everyone could see it, you know? Oh, really? You've never been in prison? You know, never been in prison. Don't have a rap sheet. But thank you for admitting that you're fucking Geo Farnsworth, dumbass. God, you are stupid. You know? I am totally up for any emails that anybody has to deal with this bullshit. You know? Well, if Thomas is your good friend, I feel sorry for you. No, I actually don't. Because you'll end up in the same place he did because birds of a feather fucking flock together. That's how it works. But now everyone can see this is what ends up happening. When I tell people where I'm going to go and that I'm going to actually do it, this is what ends up happening. They inundate the conversation because they don't want anybody actually having any good conversation. They want to control the narrative. And they'll say whatever stupid shit, and they always do it anonymously. Except you're so goddamn dumb that then you admit who you are. You know? Geo, you are about as dumb as a rock. I have never met anybody so stupid. And I've seen. All anybody has to do is type in your name to go see your arrest warrants, to see what you've done with any of you. That's the reason why you're always in here anonymously. And so, no, we did not talk about you the last 2 hours. The last time that I went, we didn't talk about you at all. In fact, people were in here that were having conversations, and I don't think any of you came up, you know? Not at all. Yeah, you're just an anonymous dickhead. You're Legion. You're Legion. You're just anybody you want to be, you know? It was the last one that we had, the last live one was great. This has been an hour, And of course they're going to come in because that's the problem. That was the problem. We didn't talk about them. And they were a butthurt that we didn't spend the last 2 hours on the last live one talking all about them. So now they're in here so that we can for sure talk. Because if you can't get attention any other way. No, I didn't rant about you. Anybody can go listen to the last 2 hours. But you fucking are either killing kids or protecting those who do kill kids. And you think you're all that. You guys all have prison. You guys have rap sheets. Just huge rap sheets. I do not feed, I don't have a lot of hummingbirds. You know, I just don't have a lot of hummingbirds. And I just haven't had money to go feed the birds. I like to feed the birds, but it took $20 to buy a bag of bird food. But as you can tell, I have 85 cents left in my pocket because I bought an $8 bottle of wine, and that's it for me. That's when you don't have any money, money goes fast, and you know a lot of times, sometimes it's about bills or food for me, and this is not gonna last. This is not gonna last. What's gonna end up happening? Okay, I tell you what I can do. There we go. How's that? It's easy enough to do. If that's how everybody wants it, it's easy enough to do it. Now nobody can see anything. And eventually you'll go away. You know? Because when you can't get attention, that's how it works. You won't get attention. So now I'm at 57 minutes. I'm going to talk about what I originally wanted to talk about, which was grief. And I apologize for those of you who would like to actually talk in the chat, but I ain't dealing with it tonight. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with a bunch of damn pedophiles and those who will protect pedophiles calling out names to me that I've dealt with over and over and over, and I'm done dealing with it. If you want to know how I feel about the whole situation, go look at my live one, my live video where I talked about accountability, because I put it all down there. And I'm just not going to deal with the stuff. If it's just as easy for me to do it this way. And I'm not going to deal with idiots. I don't have the patience or the tolerance, you know? They chase me around, not the other way around. And the reason why I don't feel that I need to talk about them is because they're all being investigated. They all know that they're being looked at. That's the reason why they're in here, because they're trying to diss me, because they think if they can actually insult me, then no one's going to look at them. But you can type in my name and see I don't have a big long ass rap sheet. But go ahead and put in Geo Farnsworth. Go ahead and put in Daniel Dowd. Go ahead and put in their names. And you'll see what they have, you know? And obviously they didn't choose education when they were in jail. I chose a lot of education. I loved school. I went to college for a long time. For a long time, I was basically what they call a professional student. And so I like education. And I'm just not dealing with a bunch of devil-loving child molesters or those devil lovers who like to protect child molesters, who always come in anonymously and have all kinds of things to say that doesn't help any of the conversation. They just insult. And what they do is they just make people do shit like this. Just turn the chat off. It goes away. Problem solved. I no longer have to be irritated anymore. I don't have to focus on any of it. You know, it's easy enough to do. And it's just sad that that's how they are. Because that's how they all are. And they think that there's no accountability for them. They think they can do whatever the fuck they want. Just like the dude from Texas who was staring at me mowing my lawn. You know? Next time I'm going to sit outside and just stare at him because he's cute. He's not gay at all, but he's cute. You know? Shit, I'll stare at you. If that's what you want, you obviously want my attention. You know? But that's what it is that they want to seek out my attention constantly. Gio will do video after video, and he's just a fucking dumbass who needs to let the cigarettes go. You know? Had you not paraded around to let me know you were in my town when Owen dropped over dead, I would have never been the wiser. But your dumbasses couldn't do that. And now you're going to cry like little bitches because I turned you guys in. And I'm pushing for it to get investigated. Because if you were in my town, I may not be able to prove that you did anything to Owen, but if they can see that you were in my town, it sure does give me some credibility for all the rest of the bullshit. And it's just interesting how that works. Oh, I see. I can actually do stuff with my phone that I did not know I could do. Cool. I'm learning, you know? I'm learning this stuff. I can get rid of you guys while I'm doing this now. And now I know how to do it. Oh, I love this. I love this because now I know how to do it. And trust me, now that I know how to do this, see, I'm just not technologically advanced. I learned quick, but it takes me a while. Johnny Gosh is dead. Johnny Gosh died the minute he became a hot item. They got rid of him. There's no more Johnny Gosh. You really think they're going to jeopardize their entire situation? But if I find out that you're the dude who's actually out there saying that I am Johnny Gosh, I will block you. You know? No, I didn't say that you were Gio. The other dude was Gio. He was the one who admitted that he was Gio. And if you have normal questions and you can even disagree with me, that's fine. But this whole shit that I am dealing with, Jeff Gannon was some dumbass because the whole situation was starting to come out. Jeff Gannon didn't come out until everyone started focusing on Michael Aquino. And then they presented Jeff Gannon to focus on Johnny Gosh. And that's how it worked, you know, because they use all of this stuff. Yeah, people have said I'm Johnny Gosh. Like I don't have a family that I know where I come from. They've actually done videos saying that I am Johnny Gosh. You know, I don't even look like Johnny Gosh. And Noreen Gosh is so not my mom. Oh my God, thank you for small favors. You know, and so just now that I know how to deal with this, now these live chats are going to be a lot different because you irritate me and I'm going to block your ass right off the second. And I don't want to swear. When I start getting irritated, I start to swear, and I'm really trying to curb the swearing because there are people who have issues with it. And I understand that. you know? And it's funny, when I'm on here, I end up swearing, but when I'm out and about and I deal with people face to face, I don't ever swear because people look at you funny when you're out there. But my mom had the mouth of a sailor. And when you don't have a job and you live it by yourself a lot, and it's swearing can become a thing, you know? No, I'm not going to give him any space. And thank you for, I tell him all the time, you can go talk about me all you want, but not on my venue. Not on my venue. But now I know how to do it. You know, it just took me, you guys had to watch me figure it out, The little wheels were turning in my head. But now that I know, I ain't playing any more games. And I'm not gonna, if you piss me off in here, I'm not putting you in a timeout. I'm just hiding you. I'm just blocking you. That's how it's gonna work. Because I don't play. I don't play. I'm just not gonna play. Okay, there we go. I know you. Bye-bye. I'm not dealing, because there are some names I recognize now, and the minute you pop up, you're gone. I'll be my own moderator. You guys have been calling for it, so now, now I know that now I know how to do it. It'll just, oh, you're definitely going away. There you go. Of course, they'll just keep coming back, and I'll be up here, I'm just not. Maybe I will stay on now longer. I was getting all irritated, but now I'm kind of amused. And so I'm actually quite happy that I just learned how to do this. And yes. Yeah, I don't drink expensive wine. I've never had expensive wine in my life. I couldn't drink when I was a kid. My family all drank expensive wines. But I ain't spending a bunch of money on wine. I don't have, when you're poor, you don't have a lot of money to spend on anything. Now this month, I'll be lucky if I'm able to eat. That's how bad it is. And I'm only one person of thousands of people. Thomas, I believe that Thomas is Mike Aquino's replacement. I do. He can kiss up to me in emails, which he has, and then I write him rude emails, and it's just been exhausting having to deal with this group. I thought Doug and his group was exhausting, but I really do kind of feel sorry in a way that I never did before for Isaac. And because the people that Isaac was involved with were just, oh man. See, what I know about this group is they're all starting to turn on each other. Because now they realize that I was not lying and they are being investigated. And it's just like I told everybody. This group eats their own. They're going to start throwing each other under the bus to try and save themselves. That's how it works. And I'm just, I'm just not gonna deal. That's why I just don't feel like I have to talk about them all the time anymore. That's what was so nice about the one today. And that other one, that other live video where we all exchanging recipes and all of that, that was just amazing. The thing about it is that everybody's life is not a dog eat dog world. In this group, it is. This group eats their own, and there's no loyalty with any of them. With any of them, they might deal with each other and hang out with each other, but if they could slit each other's throats without any consequences and make $5, they would, without a doubt, they would. And in Satan's world, yep, that's just it. There is no loyalty in Satan's world. At least people who follow heaven and all of that, we might end up getting martyred, but at least we'll defend each other and fight for each other. I may not know any of you, but I'll stand in front of a bullet to try and protect you, because that's how it works. But in Satan's army, and I just call it the devil's army. The devil's army, they'll sacrifice each other. They'll throw each other. They'll do, because it's all about them. It's all about them. For each one of them, it's all about them. And screw everybody else. Would you take a grenade for me? It depends on the circumstances, but the whole thing about it is that in many ways, I feel like I have taken bullets and grenades for everyone, because here I am. And if you think that it is easy living my life doing this stuff, you're crazy. Writing that book, you're Captain Ford to Wolf, you are on thin ground. You say one more thing that makes me think that you are just playing games, and I'm going to block your ass. Now that I know how to do it, it's getting a bit dark out. Not completely, but the sun is going down. Okay, that light's not going to work for me. Okay, that's better. Not perfect. The thing about it is the darkness, when you're not separated from the Father, the darkness isn't dark. That's just how it works. The darkness isn't dark for me. And do I run around? The dark is not dark for me. And I don't do dark things, And so the dark, if you're not separate from the Father, the darkness isn't dark. And the darkness is heaven's anyway. And so trust me, I will be diligent about blocking. I have been with my videos. If you say something to me that catches me wrong and I think that you're one of them, I will, and Thomas will, we all will answer for our sins. But if Thomas didn't want everyone to think that he was this weird ass guy, then maybe he shouldn't have made that fucking video. That weird video where I'm just a musician. It was bizarre. And then you have that other dude, the Vice one, where they just mentioned Thomas's name, and that dude walked out of the interview. And so my personal experience with Thomas has not been good. Has not at all been good. The dude freaking love bombed me and then wanted to drag me around by the throat like I had a gun to his head. And it ended up No, I have never seen an expose on me before. But since you want to play that game, bye bye. I don't watch their stuff. I don't watch the stuff that they have on me. I just don't. Never have. My family was. Family for me, like I said, was a four-letter word. And what was interesting is that what I think was fascinating about my video is that I did all the filming for my video way before Fiona's came out. But the dude who, Paul Bonacci, came out of nowhere, was totally on the bad side. His little multiple personality thing doesn't work. When you watch that stuff, that is primal fear stuff. That is what they filmed in Primal Fear. It doesn't work that way. And if you watch Primal Fear at the end, when Ed Norton admitted that it was a lie, exactly, because it doesn't work that way. They wanted women, well, they tried to make all of us into multiple personalities because they wanted us to be spies. So what kind of spy do you think Paul Bonacci was doing that weird ass shit? Do you think anyone was telling him any secrets? No, because it doesn't work that way. And I know it doesn't work that way because I have been. See, you're just going to come on, and I don't care if it's on Rumble. I don't care. I don't care. Like I said, they just will come back with a new. They have so many screen names because they're legion, you know? It was interesting because I filmed all of my stuff way before, and I didn't know Fiona at the time. If you watch Fiona Barnett's documentary, and I'm sure Candy Girl is still out there, and you watch the stuff that I did, we lived kind of the same lives in some ways, the same stuff. Well, the reason why Paul doesn't show his face is because he's too busy mowing the lawns of the people who molested him. You know, it was all Paul Bonacci and Troy Bonner surrounded Alicia Owen because she was the key to breaking it all apart, because she was carrying then Omaha Chief of Police Robert Wadman's. Oh my God. Like I said, but see, for me, dude, it's just a button. Now I know where the button is. It's just a button, you know? And Alicia Owen had the ability to break all of this stuff. No, you're not delayed. Demon Saki, I would never, I'm probably not saying that right, but even though I don't like your name, I understand where you got your name. And you've always been super nice. And I've never gotten any weird thing out. And so can I, dumbass. So can I. He's sitting there saying, oh, I can do this all day. Yeah, so can I. It's just a button. Now that I know what that button is, you know, I just don't care. I don't watch their crap on me. And so I just have never really bothered to watch their stuff on me. Why? They do it just to hurt my feelings, you know? And Cicada 3301. I don't know. I've heard of that, but I can't say that I'm familiar with it. Usually with wine, if you guys can't see me, because I turn my glass around and around, I end up playing with my wine more than not. And I dump a lot of wine out. That's why I won't buy expensive wine, because I'll have this glass and I might drink a few more drinks of it and then I'll dump it down the sink. That's what I'm like. If you got physically ill watching the story, um, I would say that chances are you have a history, because most people watch it with interest, but it doesn't make them sick. And so I it was like the first time I ever saw oh, see it. I'm just not dealing with you guys tonight. I'm just not dealing with you guys tonight. And now that I know how to block your butts, I'm doing it. Because I'm not going through this. I was probably in my early 20s. And I was watching a show. I was watching Oprah Winfrey. I think it was Oprah Winfrey. And it was the first time as an adult that I saw Michael Aquino. And I thought I was going to die. For 20, 30 minutes, I couldn't catch my breath. I thought I was going to die of asphyxiation, because that dude was just my nightmare dude. For a long time, I just thought he was a dude in my nightmares. And when I saw him on television and I realized that he was a real person, that was when it started. That's when everything started to change for me. Because I did not have, obviously, they drug you as a kid when they're doing all of this abuse, and your memories are not fluid because you're a kid anyway. And I will just tell you, John, that it unnerves me that you're on here. And it's not because of you. It's not because of you. It is the fact that it wasn't until after Isaac was gone that I started to realize that I believed that Isaac was a survivor. And at the time, I did not know that he was a survivor. So we were having conversations, and I was telling him everything, everything. And what I realized is that I was triggering the absolute shit out of him. If you have a history, if you think you have a history of this, you have to be nice to yourself. And you have to realize that you have to take care of yourself. And jumping in too hard and too fast is not healthy and can cause serious damage psychologically. That's what I think happened to Isaac. I think I triggered him so bad, and I didn't realize that I was triggering him. And not till afterwards. And now it's difficult for me to talk about this because people want to hear about it. But there are people who are out there who are just starting their recovery. And just starting your recovery, you ain't going to be where I'm at, having been at this for so long and been in therapy for 20 years. And so, it's just, well, dude, you should probably listen to your wife. If she doesn't like Thomas, you should probably listen to your wife. She is your wife after all. She deserves respect. And the shit part about it with Thomas is that when I was talking to him, there was a part of me that really enjoyed him. He's really smart. And I wish that he was what he presented himself out to be. because I would have been his friend. But there's no way. I'm not getting played, you know? I don't know how old you are. Their stuff starts to break down. 40 is like the magical age for a lot of people. It starts to break down and you start to get memories back and it starts to get really, really difficult. Mine was before that, but that's because I had older siblings. I mean, the youngest of my oldest siblings is 12 and a half years older than I am. My sister Cindy, who I was incredibly close to, was 16 years older than I was. And I just, that's just it. If it, you know, life really isn't how you make it. I mean, it really isn't. And it's not how you identify, because I would like to say that I identify as a billionaire, but I still haven't found any of my money. I have searched and searched and searched and have not found my Richie Rich vault yet at all. And I'm just, you just got to be careful when you're getting into this, because you can trigger yourself really bad. And then it will take you down a slope. And especially if you do not have a therapist or someone physically in your life who can give you support, it will not go well for you. I'm just warning you. I just don't want to see what happened to Isaac happen to other people. Because when Isaac told me that he had 4 of Michael Aquino's phone numbers and he was harassing Michael Aquino on the phone, I got mad. You think you're 55? You don't know how old you are? Oh, I am way too old for a sugar daddy. I am way too old for a sugar daddy. And sugar daddies, it's all about control. And I'm not giving up control over my life. I'm just not going to give up control in my life. I just have to figure something out, just like the majority of people. It's not like I'm the only one struggling. You know, it's not like I'm the only one struggling. And the fact that I've been able to do as well for myself, being on disability that I have, has been remarkable. God has really blessed me. And so, the thing about it, John, is that I think that actually talking about your story and not jumping into listening to other people's, or if it gets too much, then shut it off, you know, because you can get overwhelmed with this stuff really hard. And a lot of men do not survive in this. They don't. They end up they end up disintegrating. It's almost kind of easier for women to deal with it in some ways than it is for guys to deal with it. And we are all fighting for Isaac's cause to protect children, David. That is the best thing I've ever heard, because that's the thing. It was Isaac's life and what he was trying to expose that's the important part. There's nothing we can do about his death. But, okay, dude, you are just, the purple one is gone. The purple one is gone. We may not have saved any children, but at least we're not trying to help hurt them and protect those who do. And I'm just not putting up with it. Nope. Now that I know how to do this, I do not need mods, because that's what I'm doing. I'm not putting them in timeout. I'm just banning them because I don't want them in here, you know? see, the fact that you were a good parent and they're raising good kids, that's the whole point of this, you know? And sometimes what I have dealt with in the past is that sometimes it's better to to focus on where you're at now and where you want to be, and fuck the past. Excuse my language, but fuck the past. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's really easy to get stuck in the past. And it's doing things that you can't, you know. No, Scott, I'm not blocking you because you having conversations like you are. I may not kind of like them, but you haven't irritated me because you can have different opinions. And if you want to be Thomas's friend, okay, you know. I just wish that Thomas would have been who I thought he was at the beginning, because that's the thing about Thomas is that he thinks I hate him, but there was one point in time he was talking about him and his wife coming up and seeing me, and it was when I thought he was a normal individual, and I was excited about it. I have to admit, you know, because I don't usually find people that I think are smarter than me. I mean, as smart as me, but it's hard to find people who I think are really, you know, just blow me out of the water. And Thomas did. That's why I say he's really, you know, and Thomas is involved in some really bad things as far as I can tell. And he's definitely involved with some bad people, because the whole Dead Eyes at Cappy Club, I'm not impressed with any of them. I think they're all pieces of shit. And I don't ever want to be scuba diving, but they drowned me all the time. You know, I'm full of fear, anger, depression. I constantly feel like a lonely, lost, abused, tortured boy who wasn't cared for. But I'm good looking, Mr. Popular, and I have it all. Parents say I had a good childhood. Well, of course your parents do. Because the whole thing about it is that if you're remembering stuff from your past, then I love my parents, but my parents sucked. Oh, Chicken Hawk, you are gone. Gone. The whole thing, you know, I just don't want to talk about Thomas anymore. You know, again, if we're going to go and talk about, yeah, they're gaslighting you. And of course they're going to tell you, because if they told you what was really happening, if you believe that something happened and you have questions that something happened, but you have people telling you that it never happened and all of that, oh yeah, Chicken Hawk is bye-bye. Totally gone. The minute I saw that name, I got rid of him immediately. Your thoughts are valid, and what I would tell you as a survivor is trust yourself. If you get a therapist. Amen to that. Find a therapist that you actually, you know, if you can find a therapist that actually can help you, just walk through it and actually come to terms with it, because that's the whole point, is that it's having to come to terms with what happened. It's having to look back and be honest about it and realize that there's nothing you can do to change it, but you wouldn't be who you are now had you not gone through it. And let me just point out that you were strong enough to go all through all that shit and survive as a child. What do you think you're capable of doing now as an adult? You know, you were able to get through it as a kid, and now you're an adult, and you don't have those people having the control over you like they did as a kid, you know? Yeah, well, of course they're going to call you evil, John, because you're actually coming in. Once the stuff starts breaking down and they start realizing that you are putting things together, the gaslighting is that's the first thing they do. Because really, what choice do they have? They're going to tell you that you're crazy, suffering from false memories, or they have to admit who they really are. And most people will blame someone else and never admit who they are. And um, when I when I get rid of the people, um, I block them and it takes everything away. And I'm not going to highlight anything. This is not. I understand that in sometimes, and really to be quite honest, sometimes I would come on here hoping that they would come on because I was irritated and it takes so much aggression out of me. I work through so much irritation when I come on here and fight with them. That's what I used to do to Doug Mesner too. I used to go on all the time just to let him come attack me so that I could fight back because it just took all kinds of aggression. And sometimes I like being a dickhead. It's sad, but sometimes, but most people don't want to deal with it. And I might figure out more nuances with this because now, like tonight, I just learned that I could moderate and get rid of them. And so, oh, no, no, no. See, I'm just not dealing with them tonight. And don't worry, they'll all come back. They have about a zillion sock puppets. They'll just keep coming back. It's not like if I get rid of them and then I stop doing this and I do another live one, they'll all come back. They'll just have all new names. That's what they do. It's very scared because I make a lot of threats. I'm a tough guy. I rebel against society. I'm a bad boy, damaged. See, but I can tell just by what you just said. That is something that you tell yourself, but I don't think it's true. I think you actually are a good guy. You just being a bad boy and being aggressive and all of that, I think those are defense mechanisms for yourself because it's hard to be vulnerable. And that's the biggest thing with going through all of this as a survivor is there is a point in your recovery that you have to admit that you were vulnerable and that you're still vulnerable. And it seems like it's a weakness, but once you fully embrace it, not only is it not a weakness, it ends up becoming a strength. Being actually vulnerable, yes, tolerance, kindness, peace, and love. And their side will tell you that that's all weakness. But I will tell you from where I stand, those are all strengths. If you can become tolerant and kind and generate peace and love, it makes you vulnerable, but it makes you unstoppable as well. Okay, now turn the other cheek I'm not so good at. Especially since they just murdered my best friend. They murdered Owen. Turning the other cheek does have power to it. I will admit that it does. And again, it's more when you turn the other cheek, it's more about you than it is about the person you're turning the other cheek. But right now, I'm not there. Right now, the problem with grief for me is that I have grief that ends up going to anger. That's how I understand you, John, because that's what it happens with me. Is that I can be sad and depressed, but then what gets me out of it is I start to get angry. And once I get angry, that's the reason why I don't like to get angry. I've spent a lot of time. I will say that Owen has made me cry over and over and over. You know, it was, they did damage to me when they took him out and then danced around. They did. It, it, I can't even begin to explain to you. I'm facing a financial catastrophe this month, but because of what I've had to deal with, and especially with Owens, you know that I've spent most of the month in bed, because that's what ends up happening, is that I end up I get depressed, and then I just go to bed and try to sleep. And I just, I've had a really difficult time dealing with Owen. And, and then they went after my friend Nancy. And so, and Nancy is really high end autistic. She was brilliant, but this world, this society, these people I've been around have made me a demon to survive. I grew up. See, but I would argue, John, that you obviously, I know that you feel like a monster. You just said that you felt like a monster. But the thing about it is that I would say if you were a monster, you wouldn't be in here having the conversation that you're having right now. That's the whole thing. I think that you tell yourself that you're a monster because it gives you some sort of strength. That's the reason why a lot of these dumbasses on the other side, you know, they're just hurt little kids. You know, Doug Mesner, a perfect example. Do you realize with the name Masiko, you know they were calling him Me Sicko when he was growing up. And then he had that eye. You know how cruel kids were to him. You know you had to know. You have to be able to figure that out. And um, that's the reason why I told Doug repeatedly in the past, had you and I grown up together and we were in school together, I would have been your friend. You know, I would have been your friend because I would have stood up for you because that's what I did for people, you know? And if you listen to your wife so much, why do you worship Tommy if she hates him? I don't think he worships him. And I will say, I understand why people would want to be Thomas's friend. You know, I do. I understand. I'm not that way. I wanted to be that way, but I've had to fight with these people, this whole group for so long. And I'm not just talking the Dead Isaac Happy Club because that's only been about 7 months. But I've had to fight all these people for so long that it's hard to turn the other cheek. And a lot of times, not only do I not want to turn the other cheek, I want to beat him with a stick. And that's the shit part about it. I don't, you know, well, verbally I can, because I can be pretty harsh verbally. But I just think that, you know, I just have serious, if it's a choice between being alone or being in bad company, I will always choose being alone because I hate bad company. Because I hate the chaos that bad company brings with it. And I mean, people are weirdos. I mean, people are weirdos. I don't mind being alone. I actually prefer it, actually. See, John, if you're attractive, I can't say how that feels because I've never been attractive. However, you have to admit that people who are attractive get treated way differently than people who aren't attractive. You know, it's different for me because I have a nice personality. So people look at, I mean, people, and I can be bombastic. I mean, I'm very gregarious a lot of times. But no, I'm sorry that you hung out with Sewer Town. I was not impressed with any of those people. They've made my life a living fucking hell. And the fact that they came in and did what they did with Owen and they danced around about it. But again, we're called to hate the sin but love the sinner. And so they let me tell you, dude, I wouldn't have you anywhere near me. If I knew you were with me or around me, I would cross the street so you would to avoid you. Because that birds of a feather flock together. That's how it works. That's the reason why that saying is there. And this is gonna have to end soon because I only have 10% battery. It keeps coming up, 10%. But I'm glad I came on tonight. I learned how to block people while I'm on this live thing. That was great. You know? Wolves don't cry. Yep. Oh, yeah. I am so glad I found that, but I'm so glad that I learned how to do that because I'm not. No, I can be my own mod now. I can be my own mod. And so, yeah, you did miss a lot, most of the live because I have to, I'm going to have to end up hanging up because I only have 10% left in the battery. Getting on these live things just sucks the battery out of my phone. But, he hasn't irritated me all that bad yet. The minute he does, cognitive, I will tell you, he will be gone. Because now that I know how to do it, as it is, I only have 10%. And I like to end with prayer. I like to pray in these things. Which is funny because I went through such a period where I was just bitching at you guys. Yeah, offer your thoughts and prayers, that's all, you know? And, I have a glass of wine. And the thing about, be careful being all proud about that darkness because it will not benefit you in the end. I cannot reiterate that enough. You know, deriving power because you tell yourself how easy it is for you to fuck people is not a good thing to focus on. I'm just saying. You know, it is not a good thing to focus on. It's not a good thing. When that's high up in your repertoire of things to offer, it's a detriment. And if you can't see that, then you're deluding yourself. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's hard to love when you're busy hating people and hurting them. You can't. They don't work together. You know? No. Anything. I'm not dealing with the Nazi stuff. And I do believe in trusting your gut. My mom's dad was in the army. I never met him. Apparently, he was the nicest to me, buying me gifts, but he's good looking. Yeah, well, it's those good looking ones that you have to worry about. Ted Bundy. Do I need to say more? You know? And if they're in the army, if you have a family that was in the army, then chances are you probably have, you know, yeah, I bet you are MK Ultra. That's the whole reason why you're probably in here, because you were MK Ultra. So many of us were. And if your family's involved in the military and you're in Australia, oh my God. Oh my God. You just... If you have any questions, I will just tell you in the short time that you've been on here, the 2 hours that you've been on here, red flags that I would choose as red flags for MK Ultra. If I thought I was in it, you have definitely flipped a bunch of red flags up, you know? And so, I was the black sheep in my family, but you know that I'm the only one of my siblings who ended up getting both of my parents' respect. My dad, who was a crazy idiot, told me, oh yeah, the block list, I can always go back. I can go to the block list anytime I want. I found that today because I was looking to figure out how to deal with this. And, I have the block list. I can go right on there and see all of the people that I've blocked. And there's a list because I've had to deal with this with Doug Mesner too and his group. Emily Thorne and all of those. They're all blocked too. So I have a definite block list. I'm running out of time because my phone's going to die, so I want to pray. So I'm going to pray. I hope you guys, can't insult me and not have me block you. It's just the way it works. Father, I come to you. Today's been a really great day. I really appreciate you helping me find that block thing so that I can start doing the moderation stuff. I hope that you reach out to John. He's in Australia. He's been in here. He's been telling his life events, and just don't let him be triggered. Please don't let this whole situation trigger him and push him. I know that it's hard for survivors who are just coming forward because we want to grab it all by the horns, and sometimes that is just not the best way to go about it. And I just ask that you watch over all of us, everyone who is in this room. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the people and the conversations that I have been watching and the things that people have been talking about and the dialogue that's happening. I just really appreciate it. I appreciate you getting me to talk about Isaac because that's what led to all of this, because you had me open up my comments and then you pushed me to the live things and I didn't want to do it. And yet now I'm at the other side thinking, oh my God, it's the best thing that I've done in a long time. And I just want to thank you. Watch out over all of us. I think that there's an army of us from heaven to help people, and I think we're all starting to find each other. And I just ask that you have your hand upon us, and you guide us to do the best work that we can, and to glorify the Word, glorify you, glorify love. And we say these things, I say these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. And so truth always does prevail. Meditation is good. I like shamanism. I like the active prayer thing. I'm not a good trying to calm my brain down. It makes me panic. And I'm not really good. I always will pray. And today, when you guys told me that the trolls left after I started praying, that was when I realized, yeah, because prayer works, Even 10 minutes a day of meditation can help a lot of people. I agree with that. Because shamanism is just, for me, a form of meditation. And so it's just, if I can make him go away with prayer, I will every time. It works perfect for me. But, and I did mean everything that I said in that prayer. I appreciate all of you. In a way that I cannot even begin to describe, I appreciate all of you. And I really like these live things. And I like the fact that everyone can dialogue. And I like the fact that we can dialogue about just simple stuff. Food brings people together. Music brings people together. I like all of that. bringing meditation to all actions. Government Corp Watch, they're asking what your channel is. If you tell me your channel before I end this, I'll tell people your channel because I think that people would appreciate going and looking at your stuff. Because you have a lot of good, I've learned a lot from you. At GovCorpWatch. Watch. So it's Gov Corp Watch. At Gov Corp Watch. Email is always best. Even though I will tell you that I have been really I just have not been in the mood to deal with stuff. The financial thing has me really stressed out. And the thing with Owen, because Owen would be the one that I would be talking to and trying to get advice, he was a therapist. So we were kind of each other's therapists. And so the things that I used to have, I don't have anymore. That's why I kind of like this here. Yeah, the financial thing is really tough for everybody, for everybody. And so I know that I'm not in this boat alone, but I'm not necessarily sure I'm all that happy about everyone being in the boat with me when my boat is sinking, Get off my boat, maybe it won't sink. No, I'm just, MK Ultra is the mind control. They were making us into super victims. I can't go into it tonight because, like I said, I'm going to be losing this battery anytime. Anytime, But if you go check out my channel, I have a lot of stuff on MK Ultra. Confessions of an Antichrist, davidshurter.com. It's just my name, davidshurter.com. Look in the top, and it is rabbit hole, because that's how trauma works, dude. How could you be traumatized without remembering it? You put it away so you could survive, And I don't know what drugs they used. They were really good drugs, let me tell you. My military base was Offutt Air Force Base in Bellevue, Nebraska. That's where I was at. But they're all over the place. Okay, it says that my battery is going to shut down. I have 3%. So I have to get off here, people. It's been fun, And davidshurter1@gmail.com or dlshurter@gmail.com. John, brother, if you email me, but realize I'm going to treat you with kid gloves because I do not want to push you over the edge. And I know how easy it is to get pushed over the edge with this. And so, if you're old now, stop focusing on your childhood and focus on what you have now. And if you have kids that are good kids, focus on what you have now. You can always look back at the past, but appreciate what you have now. When you think things are going crazy, sit down, feel your feet on the ground, feel your ass in the chair, put your hands on there, and then tell yourself that you are okay right now. And remind yourself that the sky is not falling right at this moment in time. It might fall 5 minutes from now, but it's not falling down. That helps. Learn how to cope on it, because sometimes it's minute by minute. As survivors, it can be minute by minute. And so, God bless all of you guys. Oh, you're only in your 20s. Oh my God, you're young. Oh my God. If Fiona was still around, I would connect you, but she's not. And she won't connect to anybody, so. All right, I got to get off here because my phone's going to just shut down if I don't. How are you so calm? Because I've had 25 years of therapy. I've had to deal with this for a long, long time. And I am 57 years old right now. So I don't have the energy that I used to have when I was 20. And so, yes, thank you. Thank you for I'm so glad I learned how to moderate, you know? Okay. Bye, guys. I hate to leave you guys, but my phone's going to die anytime. So I will talk to you guys soon. So, and screw the fake shit, John. If it feels wrong, then let it go, you know? Because there's a lot of bullshit out there that wants to distract victims and survivors. And don't buy into the bullshit. Trust yourself. That's key to all of this. Trust yourself and trust that God will guide you. So, bye guys. I gotta go. It's my phone is blinking. Have a really good night.